Welcome to Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair. I'm Jess.
I'm Blair.
Blair, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Yourself?
I'm doing very well. We are cruising through the month of July, aka Summertime Classic Month, aka Eat Every Sandwich Month, Camp Eat Every Sandwich Month. And we have another fun one to talk about today. But before we do that, what do you say we chat a little bit about some horror news? Blairski, you want to kick this one off? I know it was a big week for news.
Yeah, it was. So I've got a couple things. First off, The Exorcist, The Believer released the first posters for the movie.
Yeah.
They look pretty freaking badass, hey? Like, good.
They look incredible. First of all, I'm getting major like Linda Blair vibes from the makeup used on the actress on the poster. It looks great. Can I add on to that?
You can.
There is also a first trailer out.
I've got
for
that.
The Exorcist.
I've got that also in my notes. It's being shown exclusively in theaters during the previews for Oppenheimer.
Yes, Christopher Nolan's newest film, which is also going to be great, but I guess horror in a different way.
Yeah, right. Real life horror.
Really excited to see that trailer. I think it's the same trailer that's been shown at a couple different cons recently.
Yeah.
But it's still not been made open to worldwide audiences via YouTube and the likes. Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited to see that preview, man.
Yeah. What else you got?
The last piece of horror news I have here is they have announced a new Pet Sematary movie called Pet Sematary Bloodlines, and it's going to be shown exclusively on Paramount Plus sometime in October.
Okay. You had mentioned this to me the other day, where obviously we reviewed the original movie, which is pretty fantastic.
Classic
and
movie.
The remake also is not terrible. I didn't mind the remake.
I didn't either.
It's a little bit different than the original, but it's not bad. I like it.
Because in the remake, it's a daughter, right? Like a little girl instead of a little boy.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I haven't read the book, so I don't know which one is more similar to the book, or maybe both of them are kind of out to lunch. But I find that a lot of Stephen King adaptations are rooted in the book, at least.
Yeah, well, I just watched the new Children of the Corn movie.
Yeah.
And it was completely different from the original movie. And this is kind of the same situation. I don't know which one is closer to the book because I've never read the book.
Right. You said I've also never read the book. You said this one has a corn monster.
Yeah, there's so it still has the killer children, slaying all
minus Malachi.
Minus Malachi, yeah. They've got this evil girl named Eden is in charge of the whole thing.
Okay.
But yeah, they praise this corn monster. And throughout the movie, you don't really know if this corn monster is real or if it's just kind of in the kids' heads. Right. Until it shows the fucking corn monster.
Excellent.
Which is pretty excellent and seems very Stephen King. So I'm wondering if that was maybe in the book.
Right. I do love how Stephen King, a lot of his stuff is very absurd in a way that often makes complete sense. But it's, I love it. I'm excited to watch that one. Anything else for you?
That's all I've got written down here, man.
I've got a couple here. We've talked about both of these pieces that I'll talk about, but the official trailer for season 12 of American Horror Story has released.
Yeah.
Season 12, which is going to be called Delicate, sees a return of Emma Roberts, who, of course, is a franchise favorite. She's been in, I want to say she's been in at least 10 of the 12 seasons.
Yeah, she's pretty much in all of them.
She's a staple.
Same with that one actor who played Jeffrey Dahmer, Evan Peters. He's in a lot of the seasons as well.
Yeah, right. This season also has Kim Kardashian and Cara Delevingne. So that should be interesting. The trailer is I watched it this morning. It's very bizarre and very abstract, which most of their trailers are.
Yeah. And
It reminded me very much of the intros of each of their seasons, which are also very bizarre and very abstract.
yeah.
But it should be interesting. I haven't watched a season of American Horror Story in quite some time.
Yeah. The last one I watched was 1984, and then I haven't
Yeah.
seen anything since then.
Yeah. The trailer does not give much away, but it should be interesting. Final piece of horror news I have: Saw 10 officially has a new release date.
Okay.
So it was originally set to be released in theaters October 27th, 2023, right before Halloween. And it will now be released September 29th, 2023. So they're releasing it earlier, which is kind of rare.
I'll take it though.
Yeah, me too. And usually if things are being have a new release date, they're being pushed back. But
Yeah.
this is going to be a month earlier, which kind of makes sense. You know, they release it right before Halloween, a handful of days before Halloween, or they release it a month before Halloween. Maybe a month makes a bit more sense theatrically.
And also, I'm imagining there's a lot of other movies coming out around Halloween. The Exorcist, The Believer, for one.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to, fight with these other movies in theaters.
Yeah, which is, it's safe. I can't imagine many people are going to go and see Saw 10 in theaters outside of kind of the Halloween season where most people tend to watch horror movies. But it should be interesting. That is one that I have not seen a Saw movie in quite some time.
Same here, man.
Yeah. Anyways, that is what I have for horror news. What do you say we get into this week's episode?
Yes, sir.
Camp Eat Every Sandwich Month presents 1983's Sleepaway Camp. Yay!
Such a good movie, man.
Yeah, this one, 1983, runtime 1 hour, 24 minutes, right in the sweet spot.
Oh, buddy, is it ever?
Perfect timing for this movie. What do you say we dive into some fun facts about this one? Do you have a few things on the go here for fun facts, Blairski?
Only a couple things.
Okay.
Felissa Rose was actually 13 when she landed the role of 13-year-old Angela, and it was her debut film.
Yeah, there was just to add on to that, there was a couple different actresses who this was their debut film. Obviously, Felissa Rose, Karen Fields, who played Judy, it was her debut, and Catherine Cammie, who played Meg, it was her debut. And they were apparently really good friends on set.
And not so much in the movie.
Not at all. What else you got?
The last piece I have here is Felissa Rose actually dated her in-movie cousin, the actor who played Ricky, in real life.
Yeah, I saw that. I also, sorry, you probably have their ages written down.
I do not. I don't have their ages. All I've got is that Ricky, I don't even know what's the actor's name. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Ricky. But he apparently broke Felissa Rose's heart.
Well, which is,
it's going to happen when you're a teenager in love, right?
From my understanding, and I could be wrong, and the source that I read could have their ages written down incorrectly, but you had already mentioned she was 13. He was apparently 17. So inappropriate.
One would say. One would say.
It apparently, I guess, lasted the duration of the film. But yeah, unsettling.
Kind of goes with the theme of this movie. There's a lot of inappropriateness going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a few pieces here. Robert Hiltzik, who was the director and writer of the movie, went to the same camp they used in the film as a kid.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I thought that was really cool. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I also have here the actor who played the young Peter. At the beginning of the film, his name is Maximo Gianfranco Sorrentino. And he is the older brother of reality TV royalty Mike the Situation Sorrentino from MTV's The Jersey Shore.
No shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What is that?
Where did you pull up that info? That's fucking crazy. That's so funny.
We got ourselves a situation here on Reviews That Scare. Oh, goodness. That's what I have for fun facts. Let's get right into the people who made this film. Like I said, Robert Hiltzig. also directed 2008's Return to Sleepaway Camp, which starred Vincent Pastore, a.k.a. Salvatore Big Pussy Bonpensiero from The Sopranos, and Isaac Hayes as well. This one, written by Robert Hiltzik, also wrote 2008's Return to Sleepaway Camp. These were his only two that he ever wrote and directed.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, apparently he's a lawyer. So the halls of justice salute you. This one's starring, I'm going to go through not all of the cast, but just a few. Felissa Rose, obviously, as Angela, also starred in To Jennifer, which is a movie that we've both seen.
I don't even remember her in that.
Yeah, she starred in To Jennifer as the character Jennifer Smith.
Oh.
She also was in one of your favorites, and a shirt that you're wearing right now. She was Miss Princip in 2022's Terrifier 2. So maybe not the shirt you're wearing, but she was in part 2 of Terrifier 2.
Mm-hmm.
She was also in 9 episodes of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs as the voice of the mangled dick expert. She is an absolute legend in the horror genre, and in her resume is a mile long. She does like 10 movies a year. I was looking at what she currently has on the go. She has 39 movies currently in production. She is a busy lady, and the horror community absolutely loves her.
She goes to pretty much like every horror con there is.
Yeah, and the fans love it. This one also starring Jonathan Tiersten as Ricky, also starred in 2016's The House That Wept Blood, and in 2021's Toilet Zombie Baby Strikes Back.
Oh my God, what a name.
Yep. Also starring Karen Fields as Junie. This was the only film credit I could find besides a 2014 short film called Judy. But she apparently supplied the voices for some of Bart's friends in season 1 of The Simpsons, which is really cool.
That is cool.
And she is also a long distance runner. So neat. Also starring Christopher Collette as Paul. Mostly has done voiceover work on shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!, One Piece, and 644 episodes of Pokemon.
Who he is in Pokemon?
I don't know, and I didn't write it down. I that wouldn't have made any difference for me, but I'm sorry for those Pokemon fans out there. He also starred in one of Blair's favorite films from the year 1990, Prayer of the Roller Boys, in which a young man infiltrates a powerful drug-dealing rollerblading youth gang that run his town in a dystopian America. Big fan of Prayer of the Roller Boys, Blair? That one also starred Corey Haim from Lost Boys. And apparently they were quite good friends. And then finally, I just wanted to make note of this. He had a very small part, but Robert Earl Jones as Ben. Robert Earl Jones was the father of legendary actor James Earl Jones. And their resemblance is uncanny.
Yeah.
I remember watching this for the first time and thinking, that's James Earl Jones, but it's his father.
His dad.
He was not only actor, but he was also sparring partner of Joe Louis, who is one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time.
That is wild. That is wild.
Yeah. Let's get right into the synopsis for 1983 Sleepaway Camp, courtesy of IMDb. Angela Baker, a shy, traumatized young girl, is sent to a summer camp with her cousin. Shortly after her arrival, anyone with a sinister or less than honorable intentions toward her get their comeuppance. What a bad synopsis.
I know. It kind of just gives the movie away, right?
It's not a very good synopsis, but the movie makes up for that bad synopsis.
Yeah.
This leads to one of our favorite segments of the show, Kill Count.
Kill Count. The time of the show we count the kills.
Blairski, what do we got for kill count for 1983 Sleepaway Camp?
Total kill count in this movie is 12, but possibly 13. We never really find out what happens to Artie.
Yeah, yeah, good point. This one's kind of interesting compared to other slasher movies where some people survive.
Yeah, some
You
do.
know, some people are attacked and survived, which is kind of rare for slasher movies.
Mhm.
If you're getting attacked, chances are you're going to die unless you're the last girl.
But yeah, we just see Artie, he gets burnt with that boiling water, and then we see him get taken off in an ambulance, but we don't hear if he makes it out or not. So
Right. This leads to likes and dislikes, the portion of the show where we talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, and everything in between. Blairski, you want to kick this one off?
well, who wears short shorts? Everyone in this movie wears short shorts.
Not only short shorts, but like highly visible midriffs.
And it's
Mostly
all
from
the men.
yeah,
The men
Gino.
definitely show
Oh,
more
goodness.
skin than the women in this movie.
yeah. I have a bit here where I talk about Gino's midriff, but we'll get to that later. But yeah, short shorts, a lot of skin in this movie.
Oh, it's so funny, man. Another awesome intro. Within the
Yeah.
first few minutes, the kill count already starts.
Yeah, yeah. The whole water skiing scene where they never give the characters' names away, but the woman who is water skiing looks like she's about to burst into tears. She is hating it.
She's having the worst time ever out there, man.
Yeah, she is not enjoying it at all. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I do love how campy and how 80s this movie is.
Yeah, this movie, it's everything I like in a horror movie. It's cheese, it's camp. Basically, every bad thing about this movie
Is a good
is
thing.
what makes it so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
This is not a movie that you're going to go into and anticipate getting scared. It's fun to watch because it's so over the top in every way possible. I want to go off of that also. One of those ways is the acting.
Yeah.
It's so over the top and fun. Judy, the character Judy, she is so conceited and snobbish. And Mel, the camp director, is just so paranoid. But honestly, my favorite performance, and it's a very small portion of the movie. It's maybe 2 minutes long,
Okay.
and it goes to Desiree Gould as Aunt Martha,
Mhm.
whose performance in this movie is so theatrical. I just wanted more of it. She seemed like a character right out of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
She really did, man.
Like she was so over the top.
It's literally like you're watching a Broadway play at that on the scene that she's in at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was obviously like the character had some issues, but she would say something and then she would kind of have like a out loud aside to herself where she was, she was thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But the character was absolutely ridiculous. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
I did too, man. The camp man had so many perverts and pedophiles.
Yeah. What the hell?
Camp. I don't know if I don't really understand the writing behind it, but there were so many just perverts in this camp, especially Artie, the cook.
Yeah, and it was like they weren't trying to hide that they were these grotesque people. This was like openly commented on by themselves to their fellow employees. It was weird.
Yeah,
the camp chef
no
was
shame
weird.
at all.
No, the camp chef and Mel were both a little odd.
Yeah, very much so, man.
What did you think of the language of the kids?
They were like just all the swearing and shit.
So apparently the guy who played Ricky in his audition, the director just got him to cuss him out. It's just like swear at me. And obviously, he's getting the comfort. Is this kid comfortable swearing on camera? And that kid, along with every other kid, was very comfortable swearing on camera.
Oh man, especially the scene where like that older crew, they're on the roof and they throw a water balloon at Angela.
Yeah.
And then Ricky just freaks the fuck out on them. Oh, he just goes off, man. I loved it. It was so great.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that there's 12, possibly 13 kills in this
Yeah,
movie, or
yeah.
11 kills, possibly 12 in this movie. One of the two.
Yeah. Okay.
What did you think of the kills? Some of them were pretty unique. Others we've maybe seen before by more storied franchises.
Yeah, yeah. There's one that really sticks out to me, and it's when that one kid gets killed in the rowboat out on the lake, and they show his dead body after, and there's literally a snake crawling out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Love that scene. I don't remember the character's name, but I love that entire scene.
Yeah, it was great.
I also really love the killer's point of view in this movie.
It's such like I hate to say it, it's such a cliche with slasher movies.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of the POV. I'm a huge fan of, seeing it through the killer's eyes. And we don't see it often in this movie that I can think of. We definitely see it in the kitchen scene.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes where it shows
water,
it, but then it will kind of cut to a different scene where it will just show like a hand with a knife or something like that, right? But
yeah, there's one with the shower and the washing off of the blood. And yeah, I love the POV.
Friday the 13th did it. Maniac did it. You're right. Like a bunch of horror movies have done it, but I do like when it kind of pops up in a movie.
Me too. There's another thing that Friday the 13th did 5 years. I think it was about 5 years previous to, or maybe it wasn't 5 years.
I think it was like 3 years.
1980. Friday the 13th, 1980. I'm thinking 78's Halloween. But 1980, of course, was the archery attack. Was that not in Friday the 13th part 1, or was that part 2?
That was part 2.
Okay, that was part 2.
That I can remember.
No, anyway. I think you're right.
And
now I'm trying to think of when part 2 came out.
1982, maybe?
Okay, so still before this one, because this one also has a kill at an archery range at the camp.
Great kill too, by the way.
It's pretty good. One of my favorite kills was the bee sting. Death by bee stings. This was ahead of its time. The only other bee sting death I could think of was Macaulay Culkin in My Girl. But that was far more dramatic. This one was a little bit more humorous. And the makeup, oh my God, the makeup of this, especially that death, looked fantastic.
It was awesome. Very creative. That's why I wrote that in my notes, is just very creative kills in this movie.
Yeah. The makeup in the kitchen scene with the boiling water and the makeup in the bee sting scene were so different and so excellent. I loved it.
In the kitchen scene, they actually had like blisters popping on his face and shit.
Yeah, they were, you could see them like, every breath he took, they would like, it was so gross, but excellent.
It was awesome, yeah.
And then the bee stings, the marks on the character's arms, they were just, they were so cool. How big were those bees?
All right.
Yeah,
it must have been massive. I also love the scene where all the guys are trying to get the girls to skinny dip with them.
Yeah.
The girls want no part of it, so the guys just all get naked and run in together and start like wrestling in the lake.
They just end up going skinny dipping together.
Yeah, so fucking weird.
Oh God. I read a story where one of the actors was quite uncomfortable doing that scene, and rightfully so. You're naked in front of a giant film set, but apparently it was not a closed set.
Oh, really?
So a lot of the people from the town like brought their like beach blankets and chairs and were like watching this scene. And one of the actors just walked off and he's like, I'm not doing this scene until you like get rid of all of these people who are unnecessary and do not need to be here, which is like rightfully so.
Yeah, totally, man.
Oh, goodness. Anything that you weren't crazy about in this one?
Okay, so we talk about the score and soundtrack a lot in movies.
Yeah.
And I found this one pretty lackluster. To be honest, I hardly even noticed it.
It didn't really do anything for the movie.
No.
Like, I mean, we've talked about usually when a soundtrack leaves an impression, it's because it does something to elevate the movie. And this one, it did not do that. Like you said, it's almost unnoticeable in most parts.
Yeah, I think it was about halfway through the movie when I just kind of thought to myself, I was like, is there even really a score to this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I wrote down my note. Other than that, I didn't really write anything bad about it. I mean, the acting is subpar, but it also adds to the fun of the movie.
Totally. And it's not
So
something, if you're going into Sleepaway Camp for the acting,
you're watching the
there's
wrong movie.
yeah, there's probably another movie that you'll get more satisfaction out of. But if you're going into Sleepaway Camp for maybe acting that's a bit over the top, working with a script that's maybe not all there, then this is the movie for you.
And
I felt like, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Angela hardly even says a word in this movie.
I read that the first she says doesn't say her first word, which is
I think it's good
night.
Yeah,
Good
it's
night.
good night.
And that comes 31 minutes into the movie.
Into an hour and 20-minute movie.
I would say in total, her dialogue is probably 5 minutes,
Yeah.
which is very, very short for the lead.
Yeah, it is.
But it's obviously, you know, built into her character. But I felt like some of the scenes were unnecessarily long,
Mhm.
and other more important scenes were way too short. So this is where I'm going to touch on the midriff. There is one scene that comes to mind that is the lengthy baseball game, which I believe was only done to showcase the character Gino's midriff whilst he wears the shortest shirt of all time.
Yeah, he does.
That shirt is not doing anything. Gino is going to catch a cold. So it's way too long. And then the scene, which was way too short, was the twist ending reveal, which is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, one of the best twist endings of any horror movie.
Yeah. It's such a cult classic scene now.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit predictable, and it maybe loses its, you know, I mean, I've seen this movie, I don't know, 5 times.
Yeah.
And I always love that twist ending, but I always get disappointed because it's so short. Like it's honestly, it's the twist ending, credits.
Exactly. The credits literally roll over top of the background photo of the twist ending
of her iconic face, which is fantastic. That's kind of the only thing that I had was some scenes were too long, others were too short, twist ending way too short. But besides that, this movie is a ton of fun.
It's so fun, man. Did you ever go to many summer camps as a kid?
I went to one.
Okay.
I went to a Bible camp
Okay.
when I was, I don't know, maybe 12, 13. Did not have a great time.
No, did they have like docks at the lake, kind of like
they did have a dock. There was a single dock. I remember the lake had leeches.
Ugh.
But it was still like, well, it's time to go swimming. It's like, all right.
Go swimming in the leeches.
Yeah, it was. I'm not going to say the name of the camp because I hate if they were still open for people to not go there on my account. But me personally, I did not have. It was not my scene. I did not have a great time.
I went to a couple growing up as well, and this movie reminded me of them because I feel like the layout of the beach and the way the docks were looked exactly like some of the camps I went to.
Not only that, but just like even the relationships of the characters. Like you have the cool kids and you have the people who are, you know, they're sad because they're away from home. And, you know, you have these different groups, which is like, that's summer camp. That is summer camp. You have the canteen, which I remember was a big thing, which is where, you know, you go and get your weekly, I don't know, treats.
Yeah.
Your chips and your assorted sweet candies.
Your hot cocos.
Your hot cocos. Yeah, exactly.
There was a lot of bullying in this movie. I just want to throw that out there. Lots of perverts, lots of pedophiles, and lots of bullying in this movie.
And apparently the bullying wasn't just in the movie itself. It was also in the making of the movie, behind the scenes.
Oh, really? Eh?
Apparently the character of Mozart, who gets bullied quite a bit in the movie, also got quite bullied on set as well.
Oh,
so bad that like one of the camp counselor or one of the actors playing camp counselors like had to step in when it was getting too much, which is awful.
really? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
horrible,
I
man.
hate hearing stuff like that. It's terrible.
It's all right, obviously. If it's in the script, I mean, it's a movie, it's not real, but
Oh, sure. And like you see it, and it's nice. Like, obviously, the character Angela gets bullied nonstop, but it's nice to hear that during the making of the film that she was, good friends with the two people that were bullying her. But to hear that Mozart kid was getting bullied, that's tough. That's sad.
bullying is not okay, folks.
No, it
Not
is
okay.
not. No, it is not. Anything else for things you like, disliked?
Yeah, I think we've covered most everything.
I think we have as well. What do you say we moved right along to our next segment, which is lessons we learned from watching 1983's Sleepaway Camp.
Lessons we learned from watching. Insert title of movie here.
The segment of the show where we talk about the valuable life lessons we learned from watching said movie. Blairski, did you learn anything from watching Sleepaway Camp?
I actually got a few things written down here.
Okay.
When operating motorboats in public lakes, pay the fuck attention.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't step on the gas.
Don't step on the gas. Look forward, not behind you. Like, look at
Yeah.
the direction you're going. And you may save from killing innocent people that are just
Also-
swimming in front of you.
I feel like that whole scene could have been avoided if the water skier would have just dropped the line.
Yeah.
Because then the boat would have stopped and gone to pick it, like the
Yeah.
whole thing. So really, is the whole incident the water skier's fault?
So we're gonna blame everybody.
Who is
Everybody
to
on that
blame here?
boat.
Who is to blame? We need an internal investigation here. What else you got for lessons you learned?
Don't play video games when playing outfield during a baseball game.
Yeah,
You got to pay attention to that shit because you never know when the ball is going to get belted your way.
that's
He
right.
did make an incredible catch, though.
Mozart for the win.
Mozart for the win. Careful who you prank with the old shaving cream on the hand stunt while someone is sleeping, because you never know who will wake up, pull out a giant hunter's knife, and start trying to stab you.
Again, Mozart for the win.
Mozart for the win.
Go ahead.
I was just going to put the last thing I learned here is if you don't already know this, and shame on you, but no means no.
No means
There
no.
are so many inappropriate touching scenes in this movie.
Yes, there are. Yeah. I was going to say with the Mozart with the knife scene, that bit of dialogue is quite ridiculous.
It really
Where the
is.
camp counselor, I think it's Gino, comes in and basically like, if you're lucky, you'll get this knife back at the end of camp. And it's like, that is a butcher's knife. Like
Yeah.
that thing
Don't give
is
it back.
massive.
Don't give it back to him at all.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, some very problematic people at this camp.
Yes,
They,
there are.
maybe some of these, people needed police reports. Oh, goodness. I've got a couple lessons I learned. Don't leave your curling iron on. You might cause a fire or be murdered by said curling iron.
Yeah.
Water balloon fights are a ton of fun, especially when they are had on the angled roof of a rickety old cabin. And then finally, I have reading in the dark can ruin your eyes,
You can.
courtesy of camp director Mel.
Yeah. He just has to mention that as he's like walking out the door.
Yeah. This leads to one of our favorite segments of the show, which is Line of the Night.
Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night. Line of the night.
The segment of the show where we discuss our favorite lines from the movie. They might give us chills. They might give us the giggles. All we know is that they are our favorites. Blairski, Line of the Night. Want to kick it off?
I've got a few of them.
Wicked.
So after pedophile Artie gets burned with the hot water, from what I might say is the world's biggest cooking pot I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's so fucking massive. Mel asks the doctor, "What's the prognosis, doc?" And the doctor replies, "Well, he's badly burned all over." Which I think anybody could have told him that.
It's a very melodramatic scene. It's like, oh, God. And then one of them asked, like, what about his eyes?
Yeah.
It's okay, it's too soon to tell.
Next line of the night is "Hey Baba Ray Bob." Hey
Yeah.
Baba Ray Bob. Which is
Hey,
just an
Baba
awesome
Ray
line
Bob.
because it's catchy and the whole scene is awesome.
Hey, Baba Ray Bob.
Hey Baba Ray Bob. So Mel is trying his damnedest to keep a good reputation while the whole camp is falling apart around him.
Yeah.
And he's talking to one of the cops about the latest murder. And he goes, "It's just one of those fluke accidents we couldn't foresee, and there's nothing more to it." It's like, no, this is not a fluke accident that you couldn't foresee. There's literally a serial killer amongst you.
He is just trying to save his whole tail for the whole movie. He's so, yeah.
He's just losing it, man. He's just losing it. When Judy goes, "Hey, Angela, why don't you take showers with the rest of us? You queer or something?" And then she keeps going off, saying maybe it's because she hasn't hit puberty, which is a foreshadow to the end of the movie, which I did enjoy as well.
Yeah.
The last line of the night I have is when Judy is making out with Mike and says, "Do you have to kiss so wet?"
Yeah.
And then she leaves early because he doesn't want to get caught, and she calls him a chicken shit as he's leaving.
Yeah.
Those are my lines of the nights, man.
Nice. Those are good ones. I've got a couple here. Starting off with Judy during the volleyball game says, "Hey, how come Angela gets to talk to boys all day and we have to play volleyball?" There's one from Billy. He says to Ricky, "Eat shit and die, Ricky." To which Ricky responds, "Eat shit and live, Bill."
Yeah, during the baseball game.
Yeah. Aunt Martha, the best, giving Ricky a bag of food, says, "Look what I did. I packed you and your cousin some goodies for the ride to camp. Wasn't that nice to me?" Ricky pulls out an apple and says, "Any chips?" To which Aunt Martha replies, "Why, of course. I believe there's a whole bag." I love it. I love it.
So over the top. It's great.
And then the last line of the movie, before the credits roll, we hear, "My God, she's a boy."
Spoiler alert.
Roll credits.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. This leads to our favorite segment of the show, which is Celebrity Lookalike Time. Celebrity Lookalike Time. The time of the show where we take a look at the cast and discuss their celebrity doppelgangers. Spoiler alert, it usually comes down to the character's hairstyle. Blairski, what do you got for Celebrity Lookalike Time?
All right, I got 3 here. So Aunt Martha reminded me of the cartoon character Madeline. Even though the outfit is a little different, but just something about her look reminds me of that show.
It's the beret.
Yeah, it's totally the beret. Artie, pedophile Artie, the head chef, he reminded me of Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
And finally, Mel reminds me of Walter Matthau, especially from Grumpy Old Men.
I love Walter Matthau.
I know you do.
"Martha, where are the GD garden lanterns?"
Martha.
I've got a couple here. The character Mel reminded me of Frank Costanza,
Okay.
played by Jerry Stiller on Seinfeld, mostly when he was yelling. Frank Costanza yells all the time. Mel does not, but when he did, he went full Frank Costanza. And then finally, Frank Trent Salandino, who played... Oh, who did he play? He played Gino.
Okay.
He reminded me a bit of Mario Lopez.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all I have, which leads us to the final rating for 1983's Sleepaway Camp. Blairski, out of 5 inconvincing fake mustaches, what do you give Sleepaway Camp?
I'm giving Sleepaway Camp 3.5 inconvincing fake mustaches out of 5.
Awesome. I'm giving it 3 inconvincing fake mustaches out of 5. If you haven't seen Sleepaway Camp, go and watch Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure every actual horror fan has seen Sleepaway Camp. It's such a classic movie.
It's a classic. It is a staple in that cheesy, over the top horror movie genre. It is so good. It is just like 1980s horror movie. I love it. I love it.
Doesn't get much more 80s than this movie, too.
No, not at all. But for Review Set Scare with Jess and Blair, I'm Jess.
I'm Blair. Remember to stay scary.
And eat every sandwich. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Reviews That Scare. Make sure you check out our link tree at linktree/Reviews That Scare. That's linktr.ee/Reviews That Scare, which has links to our Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, Twitch, and many other things. If you'd like to email us, you can reach us at reviewsthatscare@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay scary and eat every sandwich. A proud member of the Planet X Network.